Hey Roanoke, welcome back to another episode of If You Noke, You Know, a municipal podcast brought to you by the City of Roanoke. I'm your host, Carol Corbin, and I'm here to bring you all things Roanoke. On If You Noke, You Know, we go behind the scenes and give you more information about some of the good and interesting things happening around the Star City. And I get to introduce you to some of the amazing people who are serving our community and how the work they do impacts both you and our city. We took a brief hiatus at the end of last year, so to start the new year off right, we have an exciting episode for you today. First off, if you're listening to this podcast at all, thank you from the bottom of my heart. But this year, we're also incorporating more video content, and you should really head over to YouTube and see this really awesome set that is provided by Roanoke Valley Television. It's pretty cool. You should check it out. And now, what is this exciting episode I've been promising you, and who are today's guests? Well, today's episode is a special one. We have a crossover episode with Roanoke County's Out of the Office. Co-hosting with me today is M. Portner, and we are previewing the upcoming Adopt-A-Bowl. So hi, Em.
Hey, it's so great to be on. It's been about 6 months of me doing the Out of the Office podcast and our first crossover, which I'm very excited about.
We are super excited to have you. I love when we get to cross over with other localities, and Out of the Office is an amazing podcast. So if you're here for us, you should also tune in to Out of the Office and see what's happening in our neighbors over at Roanoke County.
Yep, get the donut, as we like to call it, everything going on there. And I'm so excited for this episode because the Adopt-A-Bowl is also a crossover city-county with Angels of Assisi and RCACP.
That is correct. And that leads us to our guest today, Mike Warner from RCACP. Tell us what RCACP stands for, Mike.
Well, we're the Regional Center for Animal Care and Protection. We are your government shelter. Every stray animal in the Roanoke Valley comes to us, and we take care of them, and we try to get them adopted, and we hold them until their owner can pick them up.
Excellent. We also have with us today Lisa O'Neill from Angels of Assisi. Hi,
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Thank you for being with us today.
It's great to be here.
Absolutely. And so, Mike, Lisa, welcome to If You Noke, You Know. And so this year we are talking about the Adopt-A-Bowl. And how did the collaboration come to be? For the first year when RVTV, RCACP, Angels of Assisi came together with this idea for an Adopt-A-Bowl. How did that happen?
Well, we kind of talked about it and thought it'd be a fun thing for the residents of the valley to watch something that's local. We all watched the Super Bowl. We all watched the Puppy Bowl. Mm-hmm. So we thought it'd be good to put something together local, and we partnered with RVTV, Angels of Assisi, and it just came about. We had a lot of good leaders in there making it happen.
Lisa, what did you think when the idea for something like a Puppy Bowl or the Adopt-A-Bowl came out?
I thought it was awesome, and I thought it was especially awesome when Mike said that they were going to build the set. So I was very appreciative of that, and I have to say that they just knocked it out of the park. When I first saw it, I was like, you got to be kidding me. It was so professional and so well done. So we were really excited last year and this year again.
I agree. I loved last year's event. I am so looking forward to this year's event. And you were kind of there this year. What was it like for you to get involved?
Yeah, it was really exciting because I wasn't here last year, so I had seen the video but hadn't seen any of the behind the scenes. So when we filmed it last week and I was in with like all of these puppies and all of these people putting it together, because it really is a huge production and takes a lot of people, and it was hectic in the best way possible because you have all these amazing people and all these amazing puppies, and it was a morning full of love, truly.
Yeah, I was here last year, and when I was here, it's almost like you see the Puppy Bowl, on the Animal Planet. You can see the Adopt-A-Bowl on YouTube. And when you see it, you think, oh, they were there for 20 minutes and this is a great program. And to get that 20 minutes, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into that, both from the animal perspective and the production perspective. When we start looking into the animal perspective, how do you select what kind of puppies get to come and be a part of the Puppy Bowl?
Well, we have several staff members within the facility that goes through and looks at the best temperament and the best puppy that would be there. And it does take quite a bit of time. Our maintenance gentleman put the set together for us, and that takes a little bit of time. And just going through and trying to pick the right ones and trying to pick the ones that we feel like that are adoptable that the citizens would enjoy seeing, and just gives them exposure, kind of on not a national level but a local level, to get the animals adopted after the bowl.
And you also try to select for winners, right? Because you
We
got a couple
try to
ringers
select
this
winners.
year.
Yeah, we had a few ringers, and
Yeah,
they trained hard.
I heard something about Patrick Mahomes was going to be here. I heard he might be a star this year.
He could be. We had several stars, and I think we had quite a few that stood out. So very pleased with staff and all the people that put it together. And I have to give RVTV a big round of applause because they did a great job.
Amazing.
In getting this together and filming it and pulling their staff together. It's just, I don't think half the people in the Valley know the talent that we have in both Roanoke City and Roanoke County that work together. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we love to see the collaboration and collaborating with Angels on this project. How does Angels go about picking the puppies that get to come and participate?
And while there's so much prep work to it to get everything ready and the people and the set and all of that, some of it is just as far as animals go as to who's available. So, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't always know. A couple of our puppies had been adopted, but they were able to come back. It's coordinating with fosters, but we're never quite, we can't tell 6 months ago when we were starting all of this, hey, we're going to have 6 puppies here and they're all going to be awesome. We don't know that type of thing. We had just done a rescue maybe 8 weeks ago up in Allegheny, and we pulled some dogs, and one of the dogs had happened to just have puppies at this house that we went to, and I was looking and they were brand new, and I was like, hey,
you're gonna be a star, kid.
Eat well. But so it's, you prep so much, but as far as the animals go, it's kind of like what's available at that particular time.
Yeah, because your goal is never to hold on to animals too. Like you want to adopt them out. So
we want to adopt them out, exactly.
Not holding on to the cute ones just for the adoptable.
Yeah, but it's always sort of, the months leading up to it, it's kind of in the back of your mind, like, hey, we had a couple of owner surrenders. They couldn't take care of their animals, and one of them had just had a couple puppies that we told the fosters, be prepared because you're going to come back. So a lot of planning, and yet you kind of have to go with the flow also.
Yeah. And just like a lot of behind the scenes, both our medical departments work together, make sure everybody's vaccinated, have their shots, make sure they're well, so we don't, cause any other sickness. So it's just a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes in both agencies, really, to make this happen. So.
Speaking of medical staff and behind the scenes, that was one of my favorite moments from last year's Adopt-A-Bowl, is when we did have a dog like literally kind of jump over onto the stretcher and went to get medical attention. So we taped up its little paw and it came back and started playing again. It was not hurt, folks. The dog was fine. But I loved sort of bringing in the attention to the staff that you have at the facilities that are there to make sure the animals are okay. Because it's not just about, as you said, getting the cutest dogs and putting them out there. There's a lot that goes into caring for these animals day in and day out.
Yeah, and everybody just enjoys doing it because it gives them something extra to do instead of just the routine of daily event. So, we have amazing medical staff. Both agencies just have fantastic medical people who really care and work just tireless hours to make sure everybody's well. I don't think really the public don't know what we do as far as making sure everybody is well maintained. Their medical histories documented, their vaccines are given. I mean, we really want to take that dog from being homeless and just treat it like it's gold until we can find its forever home.
Oh my gosh. As a dog owner myself who rescues, that tugs at my heart so much. Yeah, I would adopt 1,000 dogs if the city didn't have a limit on how many we could get. But speaking of adoptions, did you see an increase in adoptions last year, or just community interest in fostering, or what type of dogs you had after the Adopt-A-Bowl?
We did. Of course, some of the Adopt-A-Bowl had already been adopted because by the time we played it, and we want to get them moving as fast as we could, but we had a lot more interest in just people knowing what our shelter's about. There's a lot of people in the Valley that they realize there's a shelter out there, but it's really, when you see it and you can touch it and you see some product that's being put out from it, it makes a lot of difference. And I think Angel's probably the same way.
I think the Adopt-A-Bowl makes adoption cool and fun again. There's stigma that goes around shelter animals, that they're not good enough, that they're dumped at the shelter for some reason, that they have health issues, that they're old, that they're tired, that there's something. It's very easy to go out and buy a doodle on Craigslist, and that kind of overshadows some of our shelter animals who are amazing, amazing pets. They've been blown a bad hand, but it doesn't mean that they cannot be the best possible pet in your home. So stuff like the Adopt-A-Bowl and getting the word out there, these dogs are awesome. These cats are awesome. These other animals are awesome. Just come and give them a chance. So we're really grateful for the chance for them to kind of get in the spotlight so people can truly see how amazing they are.
Speaking of spotlight, I know that puppies tend to not have an issue getting adopted or getting fostered out. But are there anything that we do throughout the process to try to highlight or spotlight some of our older dogs or our dogs who maybe have been in the shelter a little bit longer?
Well, we use social media as much as we can, or Facebook, and trying to, showcase that animal that's come in and just kind of be honest with it. So, here's an older dog that just wants to lay on the couch, and if you have a home for it, we'd love for you to come by and take a look. And, trying to give as much information about the animals as we can. Everybody wants the little foo-foo, small little dogs, but, there's so many big dogs that need a home too, and we try to showcase them as much as possible.
Absolutely. Well, I know we kind of talked a little bit about production and behind the scenes earlier, but when we're preparing for something like the Puppy Bowl, what type of challenges do we kind of face coming into something like this event? And were there any type of, funny moments or challenges that happened during filming this year?
I think really just kind of seeing our staff play the different roles that they had to. You'll see Carol in her outfit and her yellow flags. And, again, it was another boost for our staff, for your staff, just seeing the fun that goes into it. So they made Carol do 1,000 takes of, what were some of the calls, Mike? The penalty,
paw holding, or, just different things.
And they've got her doing all kinds of stuff. We may have filmed her doing some of that ourselves and shared it with our staff members. And it's good fun. You know what I'm saying? It's something that's different, and the world of animal welfare can be hard sometimes. So when we can do things like this that are fun and showcase the staff being goofy and let their cool little personalities come out, that really makes a big difference.
Your Carol sounds a lot like this Carol needing several takes to get things done. Were there any other moments that came to mind for you, Mike?
Well, I think what she just said, when you sit back and you look at it and you see the employees that are coming out of their normal day-to-day routine, coming over here and getting in front of the camera, goofing off a little bit, taking many takes, but then realize that, what we're doing is really serious at the end of the day because it's showcasing 10 or 15 dogs that wouldn't have a chance to be seen by the general public. So I think just that variety of, hey, I'm not stuck in the office today, I'm going over and doing this is probably the award-winning thing for them.
Yeah, and letting their creativity come out for staff. Everybody wants to do that. So it's awesome. Mm-hmm.
I agree. This was I've told everybody doing the Puppy Bowl or the Adopt-A-Bowl last year was the most fun thing I did all year. It was amazing just to even be, associated with it and be able to help. And I heard you had a very interesting situation behind the scenes because we had some dog that tried to leap from the stands.
Yeah, so the field that they're playing on is raised, and there was a point where, we have so many people that are there, watching the puppies, and we had 3 people on cameras that are being held or on a tripod, and then 1 person going around with a GoPro sized camera. And there was one point where I was looking up and just filming a little behind the scenes thing for myself, and I noticed a dog very suspiciously sniffing the edge of the field, and so I started to stand up to suggest he go back on the field, and then he jumped, and I was oh, caught him just in time as he was jumping, and then of course everyone's head whipped around to me because you have this sudden movement, and I was don't mind us, we're just You know,
that's the visual that I was given when they're like, and literally like jumped in to save the day at the last minute.
It was genuinely just the universe's perfect timing for me and this dog jumping into my arms.
It was reflexes and instincts.
Yeah.
You were there to show your support.
Yeah. And I think that was Blaze that made the jump, who was our most active dog during the puppy bowl. So it didn't surprise me that he was the one to make a run for it, but everyone else was very well behaved on the field.
So Blaze may be like a one to watch when this year's Puppy Bowl comes out.
Oh, yeah. Keep your eye on Blaze.
Gotcha. Okay. So since this is year 2, we're going into this having a year under our belt. We have some experience. What's different about this year as compared to last year's Puppy Bowl or Adopt-A-Bowl?
Well, I think for us, we usually don't have a lot of puppies or small dogs, but this year it seemed like we did this time of year. You know, most of the time our puppies really kind of come in the spring, but this year around Christmas, and we did see a lot of adoptions through the Christmas weeks. So for some reason that worked out to our advantage because we had a lot of them, and so when you have a lot of them, it's a whole lot easier to staff a team, and so we had a good time with that. So,
and I think for this year, because after last year, we saw how awesome, truly the set is amazing. When you see it, you're just like blown away how great it is. So this year at Angels, we've done a lot more prep work to help sort of promo it in the upcoming time. So we have some footage and some things planned to really kind of get the word out there. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, I will admit, I didn't know what to expect going into last year.
Yeah.
But once the final products like happened, and I mean, I'm YouTube premiering it, like I have my whole family watching it, like on the day of the Super Bowl. And I was like, whatever I was expecting, it blew my expectations out of the water. It's that good.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling this year's going to be even better.
Yeah, definitely.
This year has a new halftime show, too.
Oh, are we allowed to spoiler anything, or is there anything we can say?
Scott's giving me the thumbs up on a spoiler.
Okay. What's happening with halftime this year?
So instead of kittens, we were lucky enough to have a gaggle of bunnies. And I heard there was a very interesting story about the bunnies, if you would like to share.
Yes, the bunnies, Mike sent over, sometimes they get rabbits and roosters and different things at regional, and he's like, calls me up and he's like, Lisa, have I got a deal for you? And I'm like, all right, here we go. So he's like, hey, can we send this rabbit over to get spayed? I said, sure. And usually we just keep them anyhow. So he sent the rabbit over in a beautiful nice little carrier and everything. And Dr. Richmond got to the rabbit about midday. She does a lot of spay neuters all day long. So the rabbits are sometimes a little bit closer to the end of the day. And she goes to pick up the bunny, and she was like, holy cow, what's in this carrier? And she had started having babies in the carrier.
Not.
So we were just like, whoa. Okay, so I think at that time there was like 3 in there. And so we gently put Mama back, and then we took her to someplace quiet. And I was super excited because we don't have a lot of babies. I live at our farm sanctuary. We don't have a lot of babies there ever. So whenever we do, I'm very happy. So I was like, don't touch her, leave her alone. And by the end of the day, she had 9. She had 9 babies. So 8 of them survived, which is pretty good. She did a great job. So again, as the whole thing is coming up, and I'm like, guess what we have? We have baby bunnies. So I was trying to get them sort of socialized and ready to kind of bounce around. And when they first came out, they were just frozen. It's like, we don't know what footballs are. We don't know any of this. But... and I do have a picture, like a mental picture and a regular picture of a crowd of people watching these baby bunnies and just getting ready for them to make some kind of move. And they started to move, and they did great.
Let's talk about these baby bunnies. So are bunnies adoptable or?
Yes.
Okay.
Bunnies make amazing pets, actually, especially if you live in an apartment or if you're not home a lot or if you work a lot or whatever. They make wonderful little companions. Yes.
Okay. And so some of our halftime show bunnies, will they potentially still be available? Are we?
They will be available.
Okay.
They have a little bit more growing up to do, and then they need to get spayed and neutered. So we can sort of avoid what happened. However, I am eternally grateful because you can't really tell when a rabbit's pregnant. You know, it's not like we're doing ultrasounds and x-rays before a rabbit spay. So I'm just very glad that she had waited till the end of the day to grab that bunny. So we have.
That was the best transfer I made.
You mean you didn't want suddenly 10 bunnies at your shelter?
They were actually in the portal. They got transferred over.
They're in the transfer portal.
Mike says I don't do any take backs. Thanks.
It's a one-time deal. So.
I was like, give them to me, I'll take them. So the baby bunnies are actually, I'm fostering them at my house. And they will, we're going to be at the home show on the Valentine's weekend, and they'll be up for adoption then.
Okay.
But that's where a lot of people don't understand where the shelter comes involved. You know, if animal control goes out and for some reason somebody's left their apartment and they'll leave bunnies in them, they'll leave birds, they'll leave snakes, that all has to have a place, that has to have a home, and we have to take care of them. So, you know, we take just about anything.
All the things.
The things that, you know, that are out there in the public that somebody has to care for.
What's the craziest thing you've ever had to take on at the shelter?
And we've had flying squirrels, we've had snakes, we've had goats.
Potbelly pigs are abandoned in a lot of apartments. Yeah.
Wow. And
birds.
So you could go onto the website for RCACP or Angels, and like there could be a potbelly pig or a goat for adoption.
If it's come in on the stray side and it doesn't have an owner, then we have to hold it for 10 days, and then I tried to work the portal to Angels.
I'm really loving this transfer portal. I'd see where you're going here.
Yeah, so we take care of all that, and people don't realize that. I mean, we have to be ready to house 20 birds or 5 birds or a potbelly pig.
And all the different needs that each of those species has. It's very difficult,
Food, water, medical, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking really big. I mean, I could go crazy and be like, do we have like a chimp person out there? But something that may not be that crazy but would still be weird to me is like a horse. Like, have you ever had to take on a horse?
No, a horse.
We did.
Yeah, they do. But
Roanoke County had a horse.
But we passed the horses on to another rescue.
Okay. Yeah. That's immediately transferred.
Yeah, it's just too much. We just
goats they've taken.
Yeah, we take goats because I have a place for them. But anything like, you know, big items like that, no. And no wildlife. We don't take any wildlife.
Okay.
So
there's laws about that.
Fish. We've had fish and turtles. And,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So we have to be ready, stand ready for everything that comes in. So.
And your medical staff too, and just your normal staff taking care of the animals kind of have to be prepared for anything.
Yeah, and I'm one of the government shelters that has a full-time veterinarian on staff. So, which is kind of unique throughout the state. Usually they contract out or have somebody on contract available, but I have one in the building every day. So.
And I appreciate where you kind of going with people really don't know how RCACP works. And so you're sort of the first stop from animal control's perspective, or will they also stop at Angels or the SPCA or some of our other shelters?
Normally we're the first stop.
You're the first stop.
Yeah, the ACOs come directly to us, and then we will work with our partners and try to get them transferred or adopted. Or if it's a special needs, AOA has a little bit better medical, round-the-clock medical than we do, and they have more equipment than we do. So we do work with them hand in hand. If somebody needs an x-ray or some serious stuff done, then we'll take it to Angels of Assisi's. But we're the first stop. I don't think people realize that. And even if you adopt an animal from her, it might have come from me like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Same way with SPCA. I mean, they come to us and pick our animals and try to get them adopted too. But we're the first stop on the bus is us.
And as a regional entity, what localities are you servicing? Like, where are these animals coming from?
Well, we service Roanoke County, City of Roanoke, Botetourt County, and the town of Benton. So there's 4 localities that drop animals into our system. And we usually take in over 3,100 dogs a year. And we service about over 5,000, which would mean they're stray, the owners picked it up, but around 5,000 animals roll through our system yearly. And as soon as they come through the door, they're given a complete medical, and they're given all their vaccines, and we feed the top of the line food and take care of them until the owner picks them up, or we try to get them adopted out. So it's a big process. People don't realize it. And it's a big building.
3,100
animals.
That number is almost shocking.
It is. It really is. And when you think about it, and you know, with the localities, you know, how in the world would 3,100 animals be lost in the Roanoke Valley or not cared for or brought to us? It does boggle the mind just a little bit, and I don't think citizens really understand that sometimes because you don't see it. If you're not a pet owner, you're really not looking on my webpage.
Right.
or if you're not looking for an animal, you're not looking, And today, with the way the cost is, to be a pet owner is an expensive process.
Yes, it is.
More so than it was probably 10 or 15 years ago. You could go get your shots and everything really cheap. And I think that's where our partnership with Angels comes in, because we do some vet clinics out in public for their shots. And Lisa does offer that program to everybody, just kind of, whenever she has a walk-in. I think on Saturdays you were doing some walk-ins. So people don't realize that resource here in the Valley, which is, just unbelievable resource that she provides to the citizens and at low cost. And I know she gets a lot of grants, and you can speak to this, but she gets a lot of grants and stuff that helps out with that. And people sometimes I don't think realize that too. So we couldn't do it without her. I'm telling you, we couldn't
Likewise.
do it without her. Yeah, we just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's the best partnership going. And we also have a partnership with SPCA, and we all have to work together because there's so many animals. And
The regional has a wonderful network of rescues that they work with, breed-specific rescues. They have places that cats can go. So under Mike's direction, they've really, really brought that whole rescue partnership to light for sure.
But you have to have it. You have to work together.
Yeah.
This is one of those businesses that you just can't not work together, really, because you won't survive. Or your live release rate or your euthanasia rate will be so high that it's just not fair to the animals.
No.
So it's tough. It's a tough environment. Some days you walk away happy, and some days you walk away sad. But it's just kind of the nature of the beast.
And Lisa, Mike was kind of talking about some of the services that Angels does offer just for the residents in the Roanoke Valley. What sort of services are those that people might not know about?
Our main goal is to really keep animals in their homes so they don't end up at the regional center, because people can't afford them, because people need veterinary care and can't afford it someplace. So we offer low-cost veterinary services, vaccinations, spay, neuter, surgeries. Today we're doing a couple mask removals. We're fixing a couple eyes today. So we try to make all of the veterinary services really affordable. We have a pet food pantry. I know Mike does too. We do it out of Angels. And we also have a store down on Tazewell called Saliba's. It's open every other Friday. And we usually service a couple hundred animals twice a month, people that come in and and get food. And then we give them discount on spay neuter. We have collars, leashes, that sort of thing. A lot of people are going through a hard time right now. Sometimes it's short term, sometimes it's just sort of a lifelong thing. It doesn't mean they don't love their pets. And so our goal, and we have a lot of help doing it, is to keep pets happy and healthy and in their homes and help people take care of them.
That's amazing. Because if we can't help the pets stay with their owners, then they're just going to end up with Mike.
Right.
Not that you're not a great port in the storm, but we'd rather keep them in
There's
their
only
homes.
so many beds available.
Yeah.
And for those people that she serves, it takes a load off us, because you can't come to me and say, well, I'm having a hard time. If you just could hold my pet for 5 days. That's not what our service is about. Once it comes through the door and signed over to us, then it belongs to the government, and we can do what we want to with it. So that's why we're on the phone all the time. Hey, I got a domestic violence problem here. Can you help out? These people are having some problems. They just need 3 or 4 days of care. And, that's where we can work out. But, once it comes through our door and the person says, I don't, I want to sign it over, that means it becomes, the property of the government, and then we have to find a place for it. So very important that people realize that if there's help out there if you need it. It might take just a few days. It's not something that's, immediately, but as soon as we get our heads together, we can work it out.
Well, and this is a lot of great work that events like the Adopt-A-Bowl are able to shed light on, and are able to, have fun with the community in the event, but then make sure that they know that all of these other things are happening behind the scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And so, speaking of, our viewers and the public, is there anything that you hope that our viewers take away from watching the Adopt-A-Bowl?
I just hope they enjoy it. I hope that they are animal lovers, and they kind of enjoy it, and just realize what went on behind the scenes with everybody, and the partnerships that we have with everybody to put that together. And if it sparks interest in you coming down, taking a look at some of our animals, I'd love to have you.
I think it's, I hope people take away that it's like a celebration of rescue animals. They're here. one day Mike and I might be out of a job, but it's not going to be for a while. So until then, just, let's celebrate these rescue pets, and we just can't wait to see them get into adoptive homes.
And were there any success stories from last year's Adopt-A-Bowl? I know that, typically, your puppies get adopted rather quickly or fostered out, but there were a couple of adoptions that happened because of the Adopt-A-Bowl. I think one of our producers here at RVTV may have gotten in on the action, gotten lasagna.
I believe so.
I think that's right.
That's a good story. And I think our MVP, I can't remember, Spike got a lot of attention.
I almost stole Spike if it wasn't going to be a problem.
Found the forever home for Spike.
He was so cute.
So lasagna is a good one. So, I think there's probably others out there we just, you lose track of. But again, it brings a lot of traffic through the shelter, and that's what we need. We just need people to come and take a look. Absolutely.
So on If You Noke, You Know, we always like to end the episode with a couple of rapid fire this or that's. Do not pretend like this camera is rolling, because it's not about the listeners. This is just about you and your opinion. And Em, you're in on this too. Oh. Okay? So, rapid fire. Dog or cat?
Dog.
Cat.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Em. One, dog, but somebody had to be cat. Foster or adopt?
Foster.
Both.
Adopt.
There we go.
Although most of my fosters, a lot of my fosters I adopt.
So I'm not doing rapid
fire now. I'm thinking about it.
I was going to say, yeah. Mike definitely had the cheat code there because anytime I fostered, it's like that. I mean, we knew what we were doing going in.
Yeah.
We were going to adopt.
Sometimes it's a good way to just kind of ease into stuff.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not doing rapid fire very well. So, okay.
That's how we work things here. Okay. Do you want a couch potato or a athletic dog?
Couch potato.
Couch potato.
There we go. I have a greyhound, so everybody thinks athletic dog. No, couch potato.
Yeah.
Couch potato.
Definitely.
Clothes on animals, yes or no?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, but only bandanas.
Okay.
You gotta have a stylish bandana. Come on.
Hey, if you've ever seen a baby goat in a sweater, you would too.
Speaking of greyhounds, so I've got a very tiny little greyhound girl, and 2 weeks into getting her, we had an entire wardrobe. She's got 2 pair of pajamas and 5 sweaters and bandanas. She's got all the things. She's skinny. She's tiny. She's so hot. She's a hot box. Aww. She will not wear any clothing for more than 20 minutes. She's So we've got an entire trunk full of clothes that she just won't wear. So I would dress that dog up every day, but she won't let me. Okay. And finally, would you rather have the same kind of pet for the rest of your life, or you can only have the same kind of pet once? So you either have cats, dogs. You either have your dog, and you can only have dogs for the rest of your life, or you have a dog once and you can never get a dog again. Now you have to get a cat. You have a cat. You only have a cat once. Now you have to get a bird or a turtle. What would you do? You can either only have the same kind of animal, or you can never have the same kind of animal.
I'm going to go with dog for me.
Yeah, I would only have the same kind of animal.
Variety, I think. Variety.
Okay. Good.
That's tough. Yeah, that's a tough one.
That's good. I would probably say only dog too, because I couldn't imagine my life without a dog.
Yeah.
But
I might go back on my answer.
There's something about them.
There's something about them, yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. Em, thank you for making this crossover happen. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with on your first experience with the Adopt-A-Bowl?
Just how great it is. It really was a fun experience to be there live as it was happening, and I am very excited for the editing to happen and see how it all comes together, because I being there the day of, it was very cute, and so I'm sure Alan and Scott and all of the people here at RVTV are gonna do a great job of getting it even cuter for the final.
Cute, yeah.
Again, it will premiere on YouTube the day of the Super Bowl. I believe, are we doing noon? Yeah, around noon on YouTube, day of the Super Bowl. It's going to be fantastic. You will have every single member of my family watching, and hopefully you will all tune in as well. That wraps up today's episode of If You Noke, You Know. If you made it this far, thank you. We appreciate you sticking with us. If you're following us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please be sure to rate, review, follow. If you're listening to us on YouTube, make sure you smash that subscribe button. And we'll be back in February with another behind the scenes look at what's happening around the city of Roanoke. See you next time.